Okay, the government of the United States. This is the legislative, executive, judicial. Okay, there is no branch underneath the judicial or the legislative. Only under the executive is where the rest of them stem from. So all of these local and state government branches are under the executive branch and are obligated to follow the ethical standards of the executive branch. When we look at the ethical standards of the executive branch, Five CFR 2635.101, 5 CFR subsection 2635.101, basic obligations of public service. Obligation of public service. 2635.101, basic obligation of public service. A public service is a public trust. Each employee has a responsibility to the United States government and its citizens to place loyalty to the Constitution, laws, and ethical principles above private gain, to ensure that every citizen can have complete confidence in the integrity of the federal government. Each employee shall respect and adhere to the principles of ethical conduct set forth in this section, as well as the implementing standards contained in this part and in supplemental agency regulations. B. General principles. The following general principles apply to every employee and may form the basis for the standards contained in this part. Where a situation is not covered by the standards set forth in this part, employees shall apply the principles set forth in this section in determining whether their conduct is proper. Number 1. Public service is a public trust requiring employees to place loyalty to the Constitution, the laws, and ethical principles above private gain. Employees shall not hold financial interests that conflict with the conscientious performance of duty. Employees shall not engage in financial transactions unless or using non-public government information or allow the improper use of such information to further any private interest. An employee shall not accept as permitted by subpart B of this part, solicit or accept any gift or other item of monetary value from any person or entity seeking official action from doing business with or conducting activities regulated by the employee's agency, or whose interests may be substantially affected by the performance or non-performance of the employee's duties. 5. Employees shall put forth honest effort in the performance of their duties. 6. Employees shall not knowingly make unauthorized commitments or promises of any kind purporting to bind the government. Employees shall not use public office for private gain. Employees shall act impartially and not give preferential treatment to any private organization or individual. 9. Employees shall protect and conserve federal property and shall not use it for other than authorized activities. Employees shall not engage in outside employment or activities including seeking or negotiating for employment that conflict with official government duties and responsibilities. 11. Employees shall disclose waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption to appropriate authorities. 12. Employees shall satisfy in good faith their obligations as citizens, including all just financial obligations, especially those such as federal, state, or local taxes that are imposed by law. 13. Employees shall adhere to all laws and regulations that provide equal opportunity for all Americans, regardless of race, sex, or race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, or handicap. Number 14, employees shall endeavor to avoid any actions creating the appearance that they are violating the law or the ethical standards set forth in this part. Whether particular circumstances create an appearance that the law or these standards have been violated shall be determined from the perspective of a reasonable person with knowledge of the relevant facts. Related statutes, in addition to the standards of ethical conduct set forth in this part, there are conflict of interest statutes that prohibit certain conduct. Criminal conflict of interest statutes of general applicability to all employees, 18 U.S.C. 201, 203, 205, 208, and 209, are summarized in the appropriate subparts of this part and must be taken into consideration in determining whether conduct is proper. Citations to other generally applicable statutes relating to employees' conduct are set forth in subpart I, and employees are further conditioned that there may be additional statutory and regulatory restrictions applicable to them generally as employees of their specific agencies. Because an employee is considered to be on notice of the requirements of any statute, an employee should not rely upon any description or synopsis of a statutory restriction, but should refer to the statute itself and obtain the advice of an agency ethics official as needed. Employee. We should look at what employee means. Employee. Employee means any officer or employee of an agency, including a special government employee. It includes officers but not enlisted members of the uniformed services. It includes employees of a state or local government or other organization who are serving on detail to an agency, pursuant to 5 U.S.C. 3371 ETSEQ dot or period. For purposes other than subparts B and C of this part, it does not include the president or vice president. Status as an employee is unaffected by pay or leave status, or in the case of a special government employee, by the fact that the individual does not perform official duties on a given day. Means any officer or employee of an agency, including a special government employee. It includes officers but not enlisted members of the uniformed service. It includes employees of a state or local government or other organization who are serving on detail to an agency, pursuant to 5 U.S.C. 3371 ETSEQ. For purposes or other organization who are serving for purposes other than subparts B and C of this part, it does not include the president, the vice president. Status as an employee is unaffected by pay or leave status, or in this case of a special government employee, by the fact that the individual does not perform official duties on a given day. For purposes other than subparts B and C of this part, it does not include the president or vice president. Status as an employee is unaffected by pay or leave status, or in the case of special government employee, by the fact that the individual does not perform official duties on a given day. When we look at through here, we're going to look at agency. Agency means an executive agency or a legislative branch agency, included in 5 U.S.C. 5102. An agency ethics official. Agency ethics official refers to the designated agency ethics official or to the alternate designated agency ethics official, referred to in 2638.202b of this part, and to any deputy ethics official described in 2638.204 of this chapter, who has been delegated authority to assist in carrying out the responsibilities of the designated agency ethics official. So, under the executive branch, which all the agencies stem from, there is no stem under the legislative branch, and there is no stem under the judicial branch. Just the stem under the executive branch, because all the state agencies stem from the executive branch and are obligated to 5 CFR 2635.101. Pursuant to 5 CFR 2635.101, basic obligation of public service, the executive branch. Therefore, the cops can't come up and say, oh, well, I work for the state, so I can't uphold the Constitution. No. Public service is a public trust. Each employee has a responsibility to the United States government and its citizens to place loyalty to the Constitution, laws, and ethical principles above private gain. Okay, so private gain for the state is not to be upheld over the Constitution or the citizens of the United States. All that other stuff. Okay, so boom, no, the state employee can't come up and say, oh, well, I have to uphold the laws of the state, so I'm going to have to violate your rights. That's not how it works. It's unlawful for the state agency and agents to violate people's rights, claiming the state told them to. That's not how it works.